Folks, you are live with your boy Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. And like I say every week, y'all, from the West Coast to the East Coast and everything in between, folks, from Eve after dark to concerts in the park, you are live once again with the Godfather. And today, folks, look here. This is one of my partners from way back, folks, from way back. We rocked the stages. We've been in the studio together. We've rocked all kind of situations. We do all kind of things together today. We speak together. Today, my guest on the show is none other than the educated rapper of the West Coast, DJ Clientele. What's up, DJ Clientele?
Grandmaster, what's up with you, man? How you
Hanging
doing?
out, man. How you feeling, dude?
Hey, man, I can't complain. You know, if I did, it wouldn't do any good. You know what I'm saying?
Man, take it like a man.
There you go.
You
There you
know,
go.
man, as I said in the opening, man, you and I go back to Eve After Dark.
Yeah,
You were one of
we
the
do.
first people that I recruited for Crew Cut Records and the Wreckin crew.
Hmm.
We did some good things. You know, I look back at Slice. I think, one take the brother did. One take, he laid it out. One take. I'm like, this is easy. This is how you do it. It's easy shit. Okay.
Right.
Man, tell us how you got into the rap game, and what was your introduction to this music game?
Well, first of all, man, I always want to say, thank you to you for, giving me that opportunity and having the resources and the infrastructure, there for young kids like us, coming up in the neighborhood who would not have had that opportunity if it wasn't for you and people like you, providing us with that opportunity. So
Thank you, Jack. I
thanks for that,
appreciate that.
man.
Thank you.
Definitely for sure. So I kind of started actually when I first heard the first record that was kind of popular in hip hop, Rappers Delight, right? We were on the soccer field at Vanguard Junior High School, and we were out there playing soccer, doing gym, and this car came up the street and bust a right, and then bust another right, but we could hear this like music booming from the car, and it was different from like the music you would normally hear, on the radio, the R&B stuff, the disco stuff like that. This was like a driving bass with a deep kick. And we just all kind of paused for a second, man, and just started looking at each other and just bobbing our heads. We're like, what the hell is that? So, we researched it, figured out it was Rapper's Delight. We said, yeah, we got to get that. So that was the first hip hop record I ever went to the store and bought. I listened to it, man, and maybe one or two times and knew all the lyrics and fell in love with hip hop from there. And when I say me, uh, Joe Cooley, he was Joe Anthony then, but now he's DJ Joe Cooley. Me, him, and a cat by the name of, actually no, before that, it was me, my cousin, he went by the name of DJ Clout, Richard Davis, and then a friend of mine named Midnight who could tap dance. We started doing little like shows every week. They would have these little contests in the place where we live called the Ujima Village,
Okay.
and in the back of the village they had this child care center, but they would throw these little like to keep the kids out of trouble and stuff. So they throw these little contests, and so I would rap, my cousin would rap, and my friend Midnight, he would tap dance, and he was our secret weapon.
Okay.
And so what he would do is when he tapped, I would rap, and my cousin would beatbox, and we had this little thing going on, man. We were
Okay.
like 14, 15 years old doing that. So, but that was just a little something we started out with. I got approached once by Disco Daddy, who happened to be at one of the contests. And he told us, man, I'm gonna give y'all my number. And y'all, you little cats, y'all got something, man. Keep going with that. Keep going. So at that time, he was a celebrity. So we were like,
Mm.
wow, this dude, he been on the radio and we know him from being Disco Daddy. And he's actually, paying attention to what we were saying. So we're gonna keep on pushing. Well, Richard, he quit the group, and then Midnight, he was in like Catholic school, so his mother didn't really like him, doing that type of stuff. So then I was kind of all left by myself, but I kept writing and rapping and jumping into ciphers and getting in the rap contests and battling people at school and just getting better at it. And so some kids from across we had two sides on Wadsworth in the Ujima village. We had the Wadsworth side and the Clovis side. And every like week we'd get together on the big field. There's this big field in the middle, and we play football against the kids on the Clovis side. So it was always Wadsworth against Clovis.
Mm.
And it was a little bit of a rivalry. Sometimes we got into scuffles and fights and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, once it was over with, we all made up and everything. Everything was good. Some of us all went to the same schools, but mostly the Clovis side had to go to one school. The Wadsworth side, we had to go to Vanguard Junior High School. I think they went to Bunch or something like that. So, but
Mm.
anyway, long story short, I started hanging out with Joe Cooley from the Clovis side, and we struck up a friendship, and we started trying to really get into this hip hop thing. And so he became a break dancer. He would carry cardboard around with him, and I became, yeah, it's true story, and I became the rapper. So he throw the cardboard out. I get up there and rap, and then Joe moved away, but we still kept in contact, and we still
Okay.
kept our little crew together. So we would start going up to hang out at the Uncle Jam's Army parties, and then we start going up to Eve After Dark, and just watching the DJs. And we started like really like, damn, what the hell are they doing? How they doing that? How they making that sound using the tune turntables? So we started researching it. We started, really stop paying. We started paying more attention to the DJs and less attention to the girls. And
Mm.
so we like, man, let's just go ahead on and form our own DJ crew. And so we did that, but we didn't have any equipment. We didn't have any money for equipment. So we hooked up with this dude named New York Nick, who New York Nick was he was a black belt in karate, and he was a karate instructor. And this goofy dude named Carlos, and Carlos was like a comedy relief. He was always pulling pranks on people, telling jokes and all that kind of stuff. And so we formed our own little DJ crew, got us some business cards together, had four names on it. The damn thing looked all crowded and shit. People didn't know like who the hell to call. So I started like just circling my name. Here, just call me, like that. And so I started handling all the business. So then we were doing some nice gigs. We started making a name for ourselves around in Compton. We were doing parties on White Street, Castlegate, Compton Boulevard. We kind of stayed in our own little area because, at that time the gang situation wasn't super bad yet, but it
Right.
was starting to get there.
Right.
And like I would like notice that like girls that I would talk to, like literally right across the street, one day I went to go holler at him, and I start getting the mean mug, and I'm like, wait a minute, I
Mm.
know these dudes. Man, y'all been seeing me over here before. What's up with that? So it started to be this like weird energy going on, and we noticed that, so we kind of stayed in our own little pocket in Compton, DJing and doing that, and then so a friend of mine named McKinley, he would come with us sometimes to help us, DJ, move equipment, maybe act like security, watch the the equipment. And so he was kind of rapping with me too. And every now and then we break down during the party, and me and him would do just like little rap routine, and Joe would be on the turntable scratching and all that kind of. So it was a cool little thing. So one day we went up to the club, and we saw, you announcing, hey, yeah, come on up, bring your best rhymes or whatnot. We're gonna have a contest. And so me and McKinney was like, man, we're gonna get in that contest. We're gonna win. So that week, we worked on this routine all week long, getting it together, perfecting it. It was like that, double time rapping, double trouble, going back and forth, throwing the words, all that. We had it down. And he called me that day, like, man, I can't make it, the day of the contest. I'm like, man, what you mean you can't make it? Ah, man, I'm caught up, man. I can't make it. I'm sorry, man. I'm like, man, we worked on this damn routine all week long. And you ain't even gonna show up. Oh man, just doing them routines you do with Joe Cooley all the time, man. You know how to do it. You got that. So yeah, so I went up there and did that routine, man. And yeah, and then the rest is history, man. And that's kind of like how I got into it.
Now, what happened to the tap dancer? I had to go back to that, man.
Yeah, well, he eventually graduated from high school, and then he went into the army. He went
Mm.
into the army, man, and then he got out from the army, and we were hanging out one day. We had done a radio interview, and we were supposed to hook back up again later on that day to go play some ball. And me and my cousins, we went to go play ball, and then I ended up getting a call from his sister later on that evening saying, hey, I just got some bad news. I said, what? She said, Roger just got shot, and
Wow.
he's in the hospital now, and it ain't looking good. So we tried to get our shit together, rush up there to go see him. Got the phone call back. Mark, he didn't make it. So
Man,
yeah. Best friend too, man. Yeah, he got, he was over there in Venice Beach and sitting in the car with one of his buddies, or by the car, one of his buddies, and some dude walked up, man, and and lit him up. His buddy made it, but barely, but he didn't. Yeah, he didn't make it,
I'm sorry to hear that, Doc. Man, that's that's
man.
that's a wild story. Because I would have loved to see some more some other type of art forms integrate with hip hop. Tap dancing like it would have been right on time.
Well, I thought about. Well, he taught me how to do some moves, but I thought about Savion Glover, right? How they
Right.
said that Savion Glover was like the hip hop tap dancer. I was like, man, Roderick was doing that stuff way even before that,
Wow.
But yeah, he was our secret weapon, man. He get out there and he start tap, and I started rapping over his tapping. And so that was,
Wow.
yeah, it was wild, man. It was a wild
I
story.
never saw. I never heard about that before, Doc. This is
Yeah,
new. This is new to me.
see, there you go.
That's new to me. Now, understand this: the clientele where he lived at in the Jima Village was literally across the street from Eve After Dark.
Yeah.
Okay, he lived on one side of our line. I lived on the other side, but he worked at the library
Mm-hmm.
around the corner from where I lived at. And so I've been seeing this guy since he was a kid at the library when I stopped through there, whatever the case may be. And I think about him, you, and Angelo. Angelo still work together right to this day.
Yeah.
Angelo worked at the dairy. Okay,
Okay.
and it's just funny how things happen, man. When you look back at all the stuff we were always around each other. Okay,
Yeah.
but we didn't hook up to the Eve After Dark. Once you got into the Eve After Dark and got into the rap thing, how did you feel when you first heard Slice, man? We're gonna talk about Slice, going back to the very beginning.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it was surreal, to hear, your voice on wax, my voice on wax. Because before then it was just, me rapping, me taking a cassette tape, and recording it and rapping over that, or us making these, mixtapes that we would sell to DJs, because we kind of got that from Mixmaster Spade and what he used to do, right? So
Okay.
we used to kind of hang out with them a little bit, and Toddy T and all those guys, because we were all up in Compton. But it was surreal, to see that, to hear that. And I think um for my family, it was completely unbelievable, because I told my mother, I'm gonna make a record, right? And she's like,
Okay.
ah, boy, yeah, right, yeah, sure you are, sure you are. So when I came home with 12 inches with my name on it, and we play it on the thing, on the turntables and stuff, she's like, holy, yeah, you're right, you did that, you did that. So it was a surreal moment, it was a surreal thing, and it was different. But I would say even more so different was hearing it on the radio,
Mm.
and that was like, wow, okay, you kind of feel like, all right, we did something, we actually made it. So
The relationship we had with K Day just made our entry into entertainment a lot easier. I mean, because usually people had to fight to get what we had.
that's
What
true.
we had just on the strength, people would have to fight to knock on them doors and had them opportunities. But because I was already buying advertisers from K Day and working with Greg Mack, or actually I was working with Rochelle. Greg hadn't got here yet.
Hmm.
The opportunity just kind of fell into our lap. I think, yeah, no, because Greg wasn't here at the Eve After Dark. Greg wasn't here when I had the Eve. Greg came about 2 weeks after after the Eve was shut down. But we still had a relationship with K Day, and I think it was KGLH. I mean K Day, KGFJ. I'm sorry,
Right.
that gave us the airplay. And man, it was like you said, it was really a surreal situation to ride down the street and hear something that you made in the studio on the radio, and then we played it in the club. And I can sit back and we did that,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. And man, it's funny because like we literally sort of wrote the blueprint for the independent, hip hop labels, coming up, particularly on the West Coast, and some would even argue even on the East Coast, because even on the East Coast, they still kind of had to go through those sort of, turnstiles
Right.
and gates to get through to the Frankie Crockers and the Fab Five Freddies and people like that. Whereas we were those guys, we were playing the records and choosing which songs to put into the mixes and put on the Saturday night mixes and the traffic jams, and recommending which songs for the radio station that played that were in hip hop because we had our ears to the streets. So very, very innovative, forward thinking, groundbreaking stuff we were doing and didn't even realize it.
You know
We were,
what? We just did what we felt we had to do at that time. And people ask
yeah,
me, do you know we were making history? Nope. There
didn't
was no
realize
reason.
it.
There was no reason for me to think I was making history. We
Yeah,
were making history, Doc. If
yeah.
we were
How,
hustling.
how are you gonna know with no frame of reference? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? With nobody else doing it like that, how would you know that you're actually you just thinking, I'm just we just trying to survive, we just trying to thrive
Right.
and make something
Right.
happen, not realizing, 30, 40 years later, damn, we were in a very select few number of people doing what we were doing. And we could argue that if we didn't do it the way we were doing it, who knows what would have become of what's happening now or what happened 10 years later or 20 years later. So I think the most because people ask me that, question about that, but I think what your biggest contribution to hip hop was is you were able to assemble people together who were very talented, who had um who had a sensibility about the music and hip hop in and of itself, and that's a rare skill to have. Granted, you had a pool to pull from, but at the same time, it doesn't always work out,
Right.
because there are other groups that were around at the time as us who were running concurrently that didn't really last.
Well, you know what? It was funny. Funny. I'm glad you said that. I appreciate that. Thank you, Dan. I really do. A young lady hit me on my Facebook page yesterday. I'm on my YouTube channel after my video from Tuesday, and she was telling me how she felt that I overstate my contribution, and I'm like,
No, it's understated.
it's understated,
It's
okay?
understated. And again, I wish I could, take everybody, put them in a time machine, take them back, so they could like witnessed it firsthand for themselves. Because what has happened over the years, and this is not a slight on anybody. I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm not trying to take any shine away from anybody. But what has happened over the years, and again, as one of the people who this is my lived experience, and I have no dog in the fight. But what has happened is the narrative has shifted from the contributions of groups like Wreckin Crew and Uncle Jam's Army and Dream Team and Ice T and all that to kind of like a certain select group of people that have sort of risen above in popularity, but really didn't do anything extra special or didn't have any extra capacity to do anything extra special than any one of us could have done, because
Right.
any one of us could have been that, um depending on certain sort of pegs dropping into the right spaces. So and again, that's not to take anything away, because I'm proud of all of the West Coast hip hoppers that have done something successful and have made a name and paved the way. But at the same time, I get a little agitated by people who tend to want to dismiss the other
Yeah.
side of that
Yeah.
contribution, and it's a shame. And we have to figure out a way, meaning us, to sort of take back that narrative, arrest it from the false information that's out there, or the revisionist type of history that has sort of spilled over into, I mean, because I read books that from scholars and historians that are supposed to be accurate, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like they they obviously went and just got a
Obviously.
vibe article and
Right.
read
Cut and
something that
paste.
somebody else told them that
Yeah.
somebody else had, because it didn't happen like that, and that's just completely not true. So
Hey,
yeah.
and it's really sad, man. I found myself just yesterday, trying. I don't have to defend myself because I know what I did, but I was trying to give her the numbers and the nuts and bolts of the history
Yeah.
and why I people have only heard about maybe 20% of what I've ever done.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't do it by myself. By no means. I didn't do it by
and,
myself.
and and you've never claimed that.
I've never claimed
You
that.
never claimed that.
Okay. But
Yeah.
I did a whole lot of little stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I did
Yeah.
a whole lot of little stuff. And some people would drop off at one part. Okay. As a DJ, when I got to Eve After Dark, I brought in other DJs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But also, I was the first DJ to ever have a residency in his own club that he owned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was
Mm-hmm.
unheard of
Yeah. You
at
know what?
22.
I look at it like this. Okay, so we like nowadays we talk about platforms, right? We talk about Twitch and
Right.
Instagram and Facebook and all these various
Mm,
Reverb Nation and all this. These are platforms where DJs can sort of promote and present their creativity. What you were doing back then, you were already giving us a platform to be able
mm.
to do that and to be able to send it out to a mass audience. Granted, there was no internet back then. There was no, email and social media back then, but the principle was still the same.
You know
People
what?
were
That's funny. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. 'Cause you're absolutely right because they don't know how they don't know what we had to do to get what we got just to with none of the stuff. We didn't have none of the tools. The only
exactly.
tools we had for promotion back in the day was hammers and nails.
That's right.
Okay,
Damn
we had
right.
to pass out flyers. We couldn't just share a flyer. We had to go out there, put it in somebody's hand, put some gas in the car, go to the
Yeah.
mall, go to the school. One guy cover one gate, one guy cover another gate. Go to the mall. I'll meet you. We're gonna start at the food court. I'll meet you by Sears. I'll see you in the middle.
Go
Okay.
go to the parking lots,
Go to the parking
put the
lots.
flyers on the windshields, all that. Yeah.
Okay. And it's that I think because they a lot of youngsters think that today's methods are standard because that's all they grew up with. They don't
Right.
know they don't know what we had. They don't know when I had to make a record. You had to write the label out by hand.
Mm-hmm.
You had to literally buy tape. You had to go to the store and buy something. We can make a record right now on this platform if that was what we wanted to do. And this is amazing. And you had to spend money. You couldn't just do it
Right.
on the whim. You had to somebody got to go. Somebody got to write a check. Somebody got to
Mm-hmm.
swipe a credit card. Okay. And if you don't have a credit card or a check, okay, you don't go to the studio.
That's true.
And that's where guys like me came in. And I had money from the studio, from the club, and I was able to, and I know my limitations. I'm not a great rapper. I have rapped on records. That's not what I do. Okay. I'm an organizer. I'm an
Yeah.
innovator.
Yeah.
So I grab clientele. I grab Dr. Dre. I grab DJ Yella.
Yep.
Because Run DMC had come to the club and broke my microphone, pissed me off, and I'm gonna do this myself. That's how I think.
It's funny you mentioned Run DMC because I was there that night that he came, and while everybody else in the audience was clapping, yay, wow, it's Run DMC. I'm thinking to myself, I want to battle them dudes. I want to take them out, and
Mm.
that was just my mentality, then. Because again, like I said back then, I was going around battle rapping, battling everybody. I'd go from Paramount to Lakewood to Sherman Oaks to Gardena, wherever I could find a battle. And they like, who is this little dude? Where you coming from? I didn't tell him anything. I just jump in that cipher and just go for it. And I had my like little secret weapons and things that I would do. And because at that time I had sort of like this photogenic memory, I could listen to somebody else's rap and then take their rap and flip it back around on them, take lines that they said and
Mm.
take in and turn those lines back around to my lines. And people be like, ooh, how you do that? Ooh, he told you up. But that was just about honing the skills. But when I first saw Run DMC, I was like, man, I want to take them dudes out. I don't care where they from, New York, wherever. And I want to battle them, especially Run. I was like, I want to battle that dude. He just got on my nerves. I want to battle that dude. So.
Hey man, I gotta ask you a quick question, man. I was telling somebody the other day. The more I watch Straight Outta Compton, I still like it, but I don't like some of the things they were saying. Okay, and one of the things that probably pissed me off the most is their reference to the jackets, like they were some kind of
Yeah.
sissified curse. Could you
Yeah.
please, from a brother who owned a jacket,
Yep.
tell them the significance of a jacket back in the day?
Well, first of all, if those jackets were so gross, then people wouldn't have been scrambling, back then trying to get one. I mean, everybody and their mama wanted one of those jackets. First of all, they were cool jackets. Um, and in fact, man, they were innovative. They were something that identified us. And because every crew, every group, even by that time, kids were writing their names on their pants and on the backs of their shirts, and they would, buy jean jackets and spray paint them up and do all that kind of stuff to identify themselves with each other. People would go to like the Compton Swamp Meet or the mall or something. They would buy these letters and they would just,
Right. But
iron
Iron
the
Ball.
letters. Yeah, they
Right.
iron the letters on their names, on their clothes and stuff. So, but those jackets were so slick, and I think they set us apart from just the average DJ crew because of that reason. They were, the bright, the shiny, the purple, with the name, the logo, and all that on it. It was cool stuff. Nobody in the crew had a problem wearing the jackets. And like I said again, a lot of other people wanted their hands on a jacket. In fact, mine got stolen. So
Dude, I don't have any of my jackets. I just, Marsha still had. Marsha is the only person I know had her original jacket from the Wreckin crew, and I
wow,
just sold it at auction a few
wow,
months ago for her, and it went
wow.
for a nice piece of change. Okay,
Yeah, I bet.
uh,
I bet.
it, and I do have another jacket I had made after we broke up. I had a leather when Leatherman jackets became fashionable. My fourth or fifth crew, we made some tour jackets for that. They were made out of leather, and I had Lonzo down the slot on the sleeve. I put that in a frame. That hangs in my house right to this day.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but
again, those jackets were so valuable. People, if I was thinking in terms of branding, I would have sold them, but
yeah,
I didn't.
yeah. You would have merched them up, man.
I'd have merched them up, Doc. I'd
Yeah,
have merched them
market
up.
the hell out of them, and you would have made a killing off of that.
Yes,
But
sir.
but just to touch on the movie and the depiction and the narrative. Listen, I understand people have they got a story to tell from their perspective. Um, the only issue I would have is if I'm gonna prop myself up, then I'm not gonna go out of my way to put anybody else down or misrepresent, sort of the spirit and the vibe that was happening, back then. But in terms of the jackets, we pride ourselves on looking, different. We prided ourselves as Wrecking Crew on being a more of a sleek, clean, you know, clean cut crew. We wanted to set ourselves apart because you couldn't be like everybody else back then. That
Couldn't
was
be like,
career suicide
yes,
if you
sir.
were a biter or you copied somebody else's style or look or rhymes or raps. You couldn't do that then. You had to be unique. You had to stand out. And in terms of the jackets themselves, that's what is, I think, missing in the narrative in Straight Outta Compton. This kind of understanding that we knew that we had to be different from other people. So that's what motivated us to kind of do what we did and the way we did it, as opposed to, um, you know, fast forwarding 30 years, later and looking back and going, ah, ha, ha, you guys wore those. Well, 30 years before that, they wore bell bottom jeans. And 30 years before that, they wore knickerbockers and high button shoes. And 30 years before that, fools wore wigs. I mean, come on, man. It's context, it's era, it's time, it's evolution. So, there it is.
As a member of the OG Wrecking Crew, Doc, how did you deal with the makeup situation? I know I had my, people clown me about my Jerry curls. I'd wear it again if it was in style. But how did you deal with that?
First of all, I don't know any actor or performer um, that I'm aware of anyway that has gone on camera or in many senses gone on stage without some form of makeup. And the fact that there's makeup there, it implies something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nobody questioned Kiss's sexuality or Def Leppard's sexuality or a lot of the other, rock and roll bands and their sexuality, Boy George's. Nobody questioned that when they were doing that in terms of the show. And it was about the show.
The show.
That's it. It was about the show. When we were off stage, we were not on camera. We were 100% full blooded, red meat and potatoes men. That's it. And now, and again, I don't have a problem with anybody's, choices that they make in life. I say live your truth. I will defend it to the death. But um when there's a narrative that's out there that is floating around and people aren't really trying to address it the right way in an intelligent way, then something has to be said about that. I respect the shots that were thrown across the bow between Easy E and Dre's camp and Luke and all of that. I just didn't get into that. I could have, and taken a few people down, because I know where bodies are buried, but it wasn't worth it for me to jump into stuff like that because I always felt that, I tried to be above that. But listen, people are going to say what they're going to say, and the truth is going to be what it is. And I really don't, I personally don't care, what people think, because like I said again, you look at what's going on today, and the artists that are that are out there today. You got people, you don't know if they're rappers or clowns. You don't know if they're, you don't know what gender they are. So
I I got them pegged as being a little bit more clownish than anything, man. It seems to me. And you know what? See, I can say that I'm 60-something years old. You say if you hit me, it's gonna be senior abuse. God damn it! And if you hit me and don't kill me, when I get through with your ass, you will qualify for handicap parking.
But
So,
by today's standards, though, what we did was really light. I mean, really lightweight.
oh, dude, it was come on, man. Yes,
And that was again for the stage, for the
for
show.
for the
That's it.
show. And but the difference is most of the people nowadays they don't change clothes. They walk on stage. Whatever they come leave the hotel in, they pretty much wear that on stage and wear it to the after party. We always had our street clothes. We had our costumes. Okay, you had any of your costumes? You have any of your costumes?
It all got stolen, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it all got stolen. Man, listen, somebody broke in my crib once. They stole everything: trophies, clothes, memorabilia, all kind of stuff. I mean, my grandmother may have kept some stuff. I would have to go and look through her, her files and whatnot. But most of the stuff that I had, yeah, it got stolen. But like I said, my grandmother, she had some of my trophies and a lot of stuff because when I played sports and was in acting and won, awards and stuff. But oh man, wow,
I still got it, Doc.
wow,
30
wow,
some odd, 40 some odd years, what, 40 years, 30 years later, 35
yeah,
years later?
yeah.
I can't wear it. I can't do a damn thing with it, but I hang it up. But I still got it. Okay.
Hey, wow, that's great, man.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
you know what? I have all my costumes. I have all my costumes. 'Cause I'm a hoarder, man. I had to buy a big house just to keep up with all my dumb shit. I got all my costumes. I have my first star.
Wow.
I still have my first Wreckin. I never got my star melted down, and I'm just a hoarder like that, dude. I think maybe NFTs may be a future for me in NFTs. Somebody want to holler at you, man.
All right.
Quicksand is here. Okay, you know Quicksand.
Quicksand, I do.
Hold on there. He want to holler at you. Yo, Quicksand, what's up?
What's up, bro? What's happening with you, man?
What's
I'm
up with
hanging
you,
out.
man?
Hey, I got a story about clientele in a battle. You
Uh
remember
oh.
Rhodium swap me with
Brody.
Steve Yano
Yeah,
and
Relief
DJ
Steve. Yes.
Artie? You
Yeah,
do
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that? You do remember that's how I met you. It's how Steve brought me to Lonzo. That's how I ended up on the Compton compilation because I
Dope.
ended up battling you,
Wow.
and
Wow, that's
he
dope.
heard me rapping against you, and brought me down to Lonzo and met
Nice.
everybody, Dre and Yella and all that, and that's how I
Nice.
ended up on the compilation.
That's
It's
dope.
crazy
Hey,
seeing you, man. How you doing?
hey, man, I'm good. How you doing, man? Shoot, long
Hey, I'm
time,
cool. I'm
brother.
out here living a real life on
Yeah,
the road, man, doing what I
yeah.
do.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yes, sir.
Hey,
Well, that's great.
hey, man, I just wanted to speak on it, man. I'm just out here, doing this. I'm listening to y'all. I just want to check in and check out.
I
All right,
appreciate you,
man.
man.
Much love, Quicksand.
Hey, man, catch you later.
Be
You got
good,
it,
brother.
Doc. Much love. All right, peace. Man, you know what?
Wow. Yeah, he took me back, man. That's amazing. Yeah. DJ Artie. Yeah, all that. Man,
You know,
shout out to Steve Yano, man. Man.
yeah. You know
Wow.
what, man? I got one thing I can honestly say, dude. I've been in my house for shit since 1984, 85. I've had a whole lot of crews come through here, man. A whole lot of them. And some of them cats, when they came to me, they was mean, they was mad, they was gangbangers.
Right.
I've been very fortunate. I've never had anybody. I never had a breakup or fight in my house. And even the guys who had maybe had anger issues, and Quicksand was one of them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
they never disrespected me. They always respected my house. And to see these brothers right now get through them times, them rough times in their life, and driving trucks, owning boats like Mike T and campers, and the cats and got in their 40s and they late 50s now. Because most of y'all, everybody 50.
Yeah.
Everybody, everybody I ever dealt with is 50, got an AARP card already. Okay,
Yep.
and when I look back and see, and I think about who the guy was. Okay, if I was a judge, if I was one of them judges, he might have got some time because he was a black belt knucklehead. Okay, black belt knucklehead. But for at some point in time, he got it.
See, okay, so we haven't even gotten into this part, right? About
Go ahead.
mentorships and education and all of that, which is, that's near and dear to my heart as well. But I've always believed that the biggest issue in our neighborhoods wasn't gangbanging; it was a lack of hope and a lack of ability and a lack of opportunity. And if you gave somebody hope and opportunity and you gave them skills and taught them skills, they wouldn't have time for the dumb shit. They wouldn't
Right.
have time to be over there doing that stupid stuff. And this is what people are missing about what you were doing. You were giving young kids hope and opportunity. And that's what, even if they went astray and strayed off a little bit, they always came back because they remembered, well, I had a chance. I had a taste of what it was to be like on the other side. I had a taste of the good life, and I want that again. I don't want to be doing this stupid stuff anymore. I'm sitting up in this, this cell and with all these other funky dudes and kind of stuff, and I don't want to be in part of this kind of stuff. So I'm gonna go back to what I was doing, when I saw these brothers over here doing a thing, or when Lonzo gave me that opportunity. So that's so that's a credit too, right there, man, to that whole narrative.
Much love, Doc. I just really, I feel like sometimes I feel like a proud papa, and I can look back and see all the cats that hung around my house, and what they've achieved over the years, and all of it ain't my credit, but I have something to do with it, and that right there is enough for me. And that's what I was trying to explain to young lady yesterday. It wasn't all about me. It just I played some cats I played bigger roles than others. Okay.
Right.
Some cats was able to hang out and hey man, you can't smoke, you can't drink that stuff over here. You got to go over there. All right, Lonzo. And I never, nobody ain't never swole up on me, pulled no gun on me, tried to trip. Right. I had a guy. He caught me last week. I was on another podcast, and he came in the studio, and I charged him some money. And the producer, the person he was working with, wrote me a bad check. And he said I sent some goons to his house to cash the check. Well, he didn't realize that the goons, it wasn't goons, they was the Uzi brothers. They just looked like some goons. And Lonzo sent some goons to the house to get the check. And man, I don't know what to do. And I say, man, them wasn't the goons, them was the Uzi brothers. That's why I call them the Uzi brothers, okay?
Right.
They were some rough-looking cats, okay? Yeah. And they rolled up on you. You had to think about what's going on. Did I really, oh, these guys have some money. I'm cool. But yeah, man, growing up in the hood. Growing up in the hood.
Yeah.
Growing up in Zimba Village.
Yeah.
I never met your dad. Okay.
No.
I never met your dad. But you stayed out of trouble. You got an education. In fact, you're the only guy from the crew that have a degree. I don't have a degree. I got a high school diploma and a couple years of college under my belt, but I had to get busy. You got a degree, and now you're going for your doctorate. Man, that makes me feel proud for you, Doc. I'm not lying, man. I'm very proud of you for that, man. That's a hell of an achievement for a brother these days, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And, I've always wanted to do it, but it's time and opportunity just wasn't there. But the time and opportunity presented itself. And another thing that inspired me too, man, it wasn't COVID and all that, people having, breaks in time. Because I never have a break in time. Even during this pandemic and the lockdowns and all that, I'm still working. I'm always working because I write and whatnot, and whether it's music or stories or screenplays or whatever it is, I'm always working. So, but it was really, man, the death of Kobe Bryant that made me
Mm.
just go, you know what? Uh, Time waits for no one, and tomorrow is not promised. So, just go on and do it. Just do what you do. What is with me, anytime that I have a goal and something that I have to do, I just make it a part of my lifestyle. And I don't take it as, oh man, this is something over there. It's like, hey, it's just like breathing, it's just like eating, just like sleeping. I'm just going to incorporate it into my daily routine or my monthly or weekly routine and just make it a part of my lifestyle and take it step by step, day by day to get it done. And yeah, lo and behold, man, I think I'm over a third of the way done with the program, and yeah, getting there. And it's not for the faint of heart. There is no easy pathway. um, I would encourage anyone who wants to pursue this kind of level of education to really consider it and make sure you have a deep conversation with friends and family, because there are going to be times where you're going to be completely immersed in what you're doing, because there is a lot of research and a lot of writing involved in it, more so than the average, but it's like I said, you just make it a part of your lifestyle, like doing push-ups every day, like doing jumping jacks. And then lo and behold, you look back and go, oh man, I've come a long way. I mean, just in the year and a half or so that I've been pursuing the program, I've looked back and gone, wow, this is a lot, that I've done to this point. So you get to a point where, okay, it's totally no turning back now, because gone too far. I've done too much work, and I'm excited about it, but at the same time, I'm completely focused on making it happen. And I do recognize the the rec the responsibility of it and what it represents, as well. And in fact, I've had family members tell me, just from when I got first my first degree and then the master's degree and then teaching credentials. And my cousin, he jokes, he man, you gonna add another group of alphabet soup letters behind your name, huh? But but you know people have come to me and said, look, you've been an inspiration. I've seen what you've been able to do, and I'm going back to pursue my master's degree. I'm going back to finish school. So man, that warms my heart when I hear that kind of stuff.
Man, but you had every excuse to fail, man. You
Yeah,
come
it's
from a
true.
single family home from the
Yeah,
hood. You grew up around gang violence.
yeah,
You had every
every
excuse to fail, but you didn't accept that, and that's commendable right there within itself.
the thing that I would say, the key to that was this, and I credit three people. My mother, first of all, strong black woman. My grandmother, second of all, another strong black woman who raised me for the first 2 or 3 years of my life while my mother was still in high school trying to graduate.
Mm.
And my aunt, who kept us busy as hell, me and my cousins, kept us in sports, kept us in activities, kept us in, she made us sign up for the United States Naval Sea Cadets. She made us sign up for, the Boy Scouts. She made us go and, participate in the Big Brothers Association and the Jewish Big Brothers Foundation, and go to summer camps, every year. And I split my time growing up between my grandmother's house in South LA to where we lived in Ujima Village to my aunt's house in the heart of Compton. So that having those experiences, there were men and mentors in my life who were male mentors. My uncles, they helped out definitely. One of my uncles, he's pretty fairly close to me in age. So we kind of shared a lot of the same interests that helped. And my father was around when he could be, and not to his fault. He was a Vietnam veteran, and you probably never knew this story, but my father was a Vietnam veteran, and his job when he was in Vietnam was reconnaissance, and he would
Mm.
go out and sniff out the landmines that were laid. So he had a dog with him. He would take a dog with him, and he would go out and sniff out the landmines. And one day he got caught behind enemy lines, and he had to end up playing dead just to survive and get out of there. But he saw a lot of his comrades, shot, killed, blown up, all this kind of stuff. and it affected him. It traumatized him to the point where he was suffering from serious serious form of PTSD. He was sprayed with that, Agent Orange shit and all that kind of stuff. So he had both mental illness that he suffered from, but also an internal illness that he had contracted from the Agent Orange. So he couldn't be around us,
Mm.
anymore. It was not sustainable for him to be there. He tried, he really tried. He would try to come over, he would try to visit, but again, with his health issues and with the other issues that he had, it just wasn't, it didn't work out. I had a stepfather that, was in and out, but his whole groove was, he used to run with Tookie Williams and those guys, and he bought me my first lock pick set when I was 15 for my birthday. He taught me how to hot wire a car. Let me see what else. He had some good qualities too. He could cook and all of that. He had recipes. He taught me how to break that down. I think that's how he got my mother. Through the food and everything. But yeah, he was an interesting cat, man, and I learned some things from him. Probably wasn't the best role model, but to this day, hey, I still know how to pick a lock and hot wire a car. So
All
yes,
right,
sir,
hey
man.
man, being that you one of the premier lyricists on the West Coast, when you think about the music that we're dealing with right now and the lyrical content, the flow, the production, what is your perspective as an OG from the game, man?
Well, again, to me, it's always been about the flow, the lyrics, and regardless of what iteration or style of hip hop, it evolves into from one generation to the next. Whether it's trap, whether it's hardcore, whether it's metal rap, whether it's boom bap, whether it's freestyle, whatever it is. For me, it's always been about the poetic side of it. When I was in high school, I had a teacher, an English teacher, white lady. She, because I said, what, I want to be a better, poet. I want to learn how to really, get into this poetry writing and stuff. So she gave me this big, thick ass book about that thick, man, and it was an anthology of like Keats and all these other, like mid-century poets that were around. She's just study these guys, read this poetry, and read about iambic pentameter and tetrameter and all this kind of stuff. So I started getting into that and studying that, and that's where I sort of like, wow, okay, it's about drawing analogies, it's about painting pictures, it's about telling stories and being creative, with the wordplay, and that's what I always emphasize. But you know, there's music out there now, there's hip hop out there now where it's just raw, straight to the point, boom, boom, boom. Lay your head down, turn it over, and it's like, okay, I can like that's nothing for me to write. I can literally like freestyle stuff like that, and it just sounds it's not a challenge, to do that. So when I hear lyrics, I analyze them and I try to get into, okay, what was the mindset of this artist putting this together? What was the style? What was the phrasing? How are they flowing? With the music, how does it all mesh together to make tell one nice story? And I don't mean just telling a story like Slick Rick did, but I mean just telling an overall story about the song you're making, and from the point of view of the creator of it. That's what I sort of look at, and you can tell the difference. Even with trap music, you can tell the difference in which MCs actually took the time to think about these lyrics, to write them down, to use, even though they might be using slang or double entendre or rhyme within a rhyme and meanings within meanings. You can still tell, wow, they really took some time to formulate that line versus, girl, get on the bed and open up and let me suck your toes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's there's a difference there. So I take issue with those who don't take the time to really think about their lyrics, unless their goal is to just make a fun song. And sometimes that's what they're trying to do. But if they're trying to be serious about it, but it comes off goofy, then they don't get points from me for that.
All right, I get that. I get that. I look at some of the guys who are coming up right now, and it seems like the music is almost secondary to their antics. You know, they're more into beefing. They're more into saying crazy stuff to get likes, shares, and as opposed to actually selling music. I mean, music is so disposable these days. I mean, what's hot on Monday might not be hot on Friday.
Right. And see, that's a byproduct of the profit driven motive in rap music, not the hip hop culture per se, but rap music, because rap music being profit driven, it's always trying to figure out where's the next edge, where's the next line that I can push to get as many people to pay attention. Like the new shiny object, that you throw
Right.
out there that people look at, or the distraction, that people are into for that moment to make that sort of quick buck. But if you want to make songs that are transcendent, that last 30 years, like a Surgery Dr. Dre, or a Juice, or Turn Off the Lights, or 2030, or whatever it is, if you want to make songs that are transcendent, you've got to be thinking less about just the moment and making a quick buck, and more about legacy, right? So I think maybe a lot of these folks just aren't thinking legacy. They're thinking, short term, right in front of the nose, what I can get out of it right now. Because hell, I can crank out 10 of those in a day.
Whole album.
Yeah, that are about nothing. But I just can't do that. I'm more about, okay, how do we make songs that are relevant, but that are transcendent, that are gonna last when I'm gone, when we're gone, and people will still be rocking to.
Okay, that's cool, man. I
I mean, I
appreciate
was
that.
surprised, and be honest, man, I was happily surprised to hear Slice in Snowfall,
Mm.
that season 3, episode 8, because that kind of let us know. Because at first, when we did Slice, like you said, we did it really. That was our first, thing that we'd ever done. Never been in the studio before. Never really did anything like that. But we still at least had a sense of professionalism going in, and it ended up being a song 35 years later being used in the show.
Man, you know what? I think that you just said a key word here that I have to harp on for a hot second. And that's professionalism.
Yeah.
I still have my studio here at the house, same studio we did a lot of stuff in back in the day, and I've let some of the younger generation have access to it, and it's so different than it was back. I know everything is different. We got phones and HDMI and
Yeah.
high def this and mobile that. But one day I remember I came out my yard, came on my patio, and there was two dudes on my patio on my deck. It's about 10:30 in the morning. They got a bag of weed, rolling the blunt, and a bottle of Hennessy on my patio table.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, what's happening? Oh man, we're waiting on so and so, who was my engineer. I called him. I said, man, you got a session today? He said, nah, I'm over here having my mom do something at her house. I said, there's two dudes here waiting on you. I said, man, I don't know who. He said, I don't know who they are. I said, man, my boy ain't coming. Oh, we thought he lived here. Hold on. You didn't knock on the front door. You just came to the studio, to the back door, where you came around the side of my house, up my step to my deck, didn't knock on the back door, didn't knock on the front door, took and got comfortable on another man's piece of property with a fifth of Hennessy and a bag of weed at 10:30 in the morning.
I might have had a couple of hot ones ready for him for something like that, man.
If I hadn't seen him before, I might have had a couple of hot ones for him. Okay, but I've seen him before, and I'm like, dude, did you call and man, we just thought he lived here. We was gonna come through. No, man, you don't fall through nobody's house like that. So you got some basic skills, some basic manners that have just been forgotten or never taught. I don't know which one is which, but you got basic manners that's just been overlooked when it comes to common sense and just dealing with people and their private property. Like I say, man, like I tell people, this is my house, okay? I don't invite everybody to my house, okay? And when I first got here, everybody was welcome. Okay, things have changed too much. Okay, things have changed too much. So I don't do the same thing I used to do. And but like I said before, after they left here, I had to change my whole get down because
Man, it's a protocol. I mean,
right,
come on, man. It's respect. It's you don't respect another man's castle like that, and just move in to the situation without permission. Yeah, you're running a risk. I mean, how where we grew up, how we grew up, and how that twitch is always there, especially when
yeah,
I hit a certain street. Even to this day, I still get that little itch, what I'm saying, in the back of my neck. So it's like, hey man, yeah, you just can't do stuff like that. It doesn't work that way. But even on the other level, when you are in a certain space where people have invested their time and their money and interest in your brand, it's important that if you want to sustain it, you want to keep going with it, that you represent it properly. And I'm not a snob. I don't want to come off like that, but it's
right,
just
right.
basic business and standards that you have to operate with as a business person, because this is a business too. And if you're not doing that, yeah, then it's not sustainable. You won't last long. And if that's your goal, then fuck up, do all that stupid stuff and have at it. But
I see all these guys make all this money, and one of three things happen. One, they get a bunch of babies and end up spending the child support, or two, they catch a good case and make some
very, very
lawyer
rich.
very, very rich to keep them
Yeah.
out of jail. Okay,
Yeah.
so these are the kind of pitfalls that's been around forever.
But
And,
it's a trip. It's a
go
trip,
ahead.
man. A lot of the artists that depict themselves, the successful ones that
Uh,
depict themselves on records and tell these stories like they're all that like that, aren't really like that.
right,
And I'm not trying to name anybody or put anybody on blast, but even a lot of the artists that are successful that talk about uh, all the dope they've done and all the the guns they've let off, all the people they done beat up. A lot of them aren't really like that.
right,
I would say 99.99999% aren't really like that. But we feed into the narrative, we feed it into the next generation's heads, and they think, oh, that's the lifestyle I'm supposed to live to get up there like this person.
right.
And as they
That's where the problem comes in at.
that's the problem right there.
you
And
you
they
you
get
set
caught
a
up.
you give them a false narrative for the next generation. You give them a false sense of success based on materialism as opposed to who they really are, what they've really done, as opposed to what they really have,
Yeah,
and that makes it totally different, Doc.
it does, man. It does. So
Hey man,
we have to be careful about that.
that's true. And yesterday I saw Yellow, man. I did a DOC's documentary. Yellow was there,
Okay.
and we still talking about getting the crew together. Okay,
Yep.
we hopefully by the end of this, hopefully by they say by July 4th, we should be back to normal. Well, to the new norm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you ready?
Man, I'm a phone call away, man. You already know that. Listen, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
What you're damn right. And the world class record crew shall ride again. Okay, I got a G string and everything. It's a little bit bigger than the old one.
You won't be finding me in no G string, but I'll support your truth, whatever you want to do.
First time I did the G string move, man, it was fantastic, dude. The
Wow.
first time I did that in Washington D.C., I dropped my pants with a G string on. Man, them girls went crazy, and we had to leave that night. I had to leave. As soon as I did it, I had to hop on a plane and go to Virginia. Ended up in Virginia. Got dissed like a son of a gun. That's a whole other story, man.
Right.
Time is almost up, man. My man John Wick said, "What's up?"
What's up, man?
Clientele Lonzo, Rod Gun in the house. Who else we got? The Easy E Ruthless Records. Mario Rock Holland.
Mo Rock, the homie, man. Yeah, that's
Okay.
man. Yeah, that's Mo Rock. That's my dude. Me and him, we go way back like car seats and Cadillacs, man. Matter of fact, we were the first ones. Me and Mo Rock, we got up and did this rap, man, at Dudo's. Really was the first type of like street kind of rap, You know, they call it gangster rap now, but we did that rap. I think it was called the dick rap or something like that.
All right.
I got up and did that. But shout out,
DJ
man.
Reg in the house. What's up? And Missy Green, the Great 99. Hey, man, time is about up. Doc. We are at the hour, the 1 hour mark. Much love, clientele. Thank you for stopping through, man. Anything you want to say before we go?
Nah, man, just say, you know, let's keep it pushing, man. And, you know, salute to everybody and keep supporting.
Where can they find you at?
They can find me at Instagram at DJ_CLI_N_TEL. Facebook, Mark Hawkins. And Twitter, same thing, Mark Hawkins.
Y'all, please.
I'm on Twitch too, man. It's same.
We're on Twitch right now.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Please subscribe, share, and notify so we can keep the audience growing. Thank y'all for watching. This has been Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop, and DJ Clientele, the most educated rapper on the West Coast. We out of here, folks. Peace.
Peace.